Our society exists, our economy exists by using a lot of resources that no longer exist for us to use. The universities got away with everything they did because there was resources to go get, machines to go get them with, and that's the difference between now and the past is the machines let us take resources that otherwise we could not have gained. And of course that means that society is removing the future by throwing it all into the garbage dump, by wrecking everything they possibly can. That's what men do. Take what they can take and leave nothing behind. That's what they do. We need a different plan. We need a different way. It's time to let women try. 10,000 years of recorded history for men, and this is the best they did do. And we stand at the edge of extinction. Whether you believe that or not, it is true. So, we let women try. How much worse could they be? Extinction is extinction. And part of that is to remove the a small business and large business need to have similar grounds. In other words, you have to state what percentage you will add to whatever it is that you're selling, so that we all know, so that the little one gets the same thing as the big one. And you can't, if you're a manufacturer, you can't sell based on quantity. You have to sell so much per individual unit. That's all there is. And we have to defend ourselves by using tariffs, if there's going to be tariffs, to create small business, to create manufacturing for ourselves, not to throw it all away as the universities did do. They threw away everything. They gave away everything. They traded everything to hide their lies and their stealing and their theft, so that we would not know, and so that those who were foreigners could collect something of value rather than their lies. And this whole nation is led blind as blind can be. Blind as blind can be. Choosing to take numbers instead of truth. Choosing to throw their lives away for numbers. To declare themselves rich, when in fact the numbers have no meaning. They are lies, and why you can say, I can take these lies and go down to the car dealer and buy myself a new Cadillac or whatever it is you think you want to buy. The reality is that the future is dying because of you. You are killing the future. You're killing every child, because you're taking away from this earth, this very finite earth, what the future requires. No resources, no life. It is that simple. There's no avoiding that. There's no excuses for that. There's no lying about that. No resources and no life. That's how it is. So you need to accept that, and accept that no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do 10,000 things that you think you want to do, that you have been doing because you want to do them. And you have to let truth decide. You don't trust in what you don't know. Don't trust in people you don't know. That's unwise. Trust in what is true. Prove what is true as best you can. Let the evidence decide. That's the way to have faith in what you can depend upon. And that does include, religion, which is, belief in God. The miracles that we see around us, exist as the evidence that we were created. There's no issue about anything that the university says. They're all liars. There is no such thing as evolution. There's nothing that says evolution. The claim of a university is this looks like that. Well, so what? I look like everybody else. So what? They look like me. So what? So what? The reality of the evidence is that we were created. That's as simple can be. So anyway, tariffs have to be used to create new jobs for us, or they do not get to exist at all. because it's just adding money. It's another tax that they're trying to collect that they can't collect, and so they're just using that to hide the debt and hide the counterfeiting that they choose to enforce upon us, so that we come up with a civil war as the end result of, we have to do something. And if you take up a civil war as something, then you just destroy what you need for yourself. All you get out of that is tears. Take a look at any place where there has been war and know that all you get is tears, mutilation, and 10,000 times more work than you had in mind, if you don't starve to death. So we have to protect the ocean life, which you haven't done. 80% of coral reefs are dead, or so they say. Pollution is everywhere. We have to do what we have to do to clean up this world, to take charge over the university tragedy that has let everything be thrown away so that they could play God and have all their toys. That's what they've been doing. No infrastructure because they needed toys. No money because they needed to hide the theft. No democracy because they wanted to make all the decisions. And do make all the decisions. And do hide it all with media, propaganda. Just like Nazis did. Nothing has changed in 10,000 years. This is all just common practice. This is what men do. This is what men do. And the majority of men, or the minority of men, can't stop them from doing it, because power is hate, and hate is what creates fear, and fear is what controls men and women. So we have to take away the fear, and we can only do that with law or weapons. And of course weapons just create more fear. And that is why people are heinous. That is why, horrible torturers exist. So they're trying to shout, fear us, fear us, fear us. See how bad we can be. Well, we know how bad they can be. But that isn't why, that isn't the purpose of life. The purpose of life is we have to create the law that keeps us safe. So it's law, it's world law, society law, it's the decisions that we make, it's the work that we do, it's the enforcement that we create. You have to become a policeman. Stop, blaming police for everything. They are not the problem. Unfortunately, everybody is not a criminal that they arrest, and so on and so on and so on. Just so on. We need to give the oceans a rest. That means that life, needs a chance to recuperate from you, from your trawlers, from the world of humanity that wants to take everything and leave absolutely nothing. That's what trawlers do. They take everything and leave no chance to recreate the population that they want to harvest. It's like planting without seed. They take all the seed and they eat it all, and they leave nothing for the next year's crop. They are horrible. Horrible. And of course, then we have all the water needs that we have to have, and agriculture is equally horrible. They put in tiling in agricultural ground that is way excessive. It doesn't actually help. They just want to show off their money. But the end result of it is that water doesn't get to the aquifer. And if we don't have water in our aquifer, we don't get to drink. And if we don't get to drink, we don't get to stay. And our lives disintegrate. And we have to move. We have to immigrate. See the problem? No? Well, don't worry, you will. So, then we have to have, of course, ethanol. Ethanol is a basic problem. It uses water. That's how you get the alcohol, is using water. Using water that we need to have for ourselves. You don't know what they're doing to the water, and you really, really ought to, because, without water, we don't survive. You got 3 days to get water or you're dead. And you're really not functioning on the third day. It's a tremendous war. And we need to stop the ethanol because it is, in fact, a no-win situation. You're just throwing away alcohol and creating pollution. You're not saving anything. And we need the grain so that we can eat that while we let the ocean rest a tiny little bit. And we need to create the food for fish and put it on barges and let them go out to sea so that we can feed the fish out there so that they can be free and trawlers can go get them at a later time. There's 10,000 things. Just 10,000 things. So anyway, in that regard, we look at corn, for instance. They have made great increases in yield, and they have created a more simplified product, so that we can depend upon. It's all dry at the same time and things like that. But what they did was they sterilized the crop, and they removed the immunities of the crop, and they created the potential for a disease to go throughout the same species as is corn, and corn is a grass, and grass is what feeds 90% of the world. So if they create a disease, a pandemic that goes through the grass, we all starve. Is it worth the price? Is it worth the price of being wrong? Is it? Well, you might find out. And it might be too late to turn them back. There's 10,000 things you don't know, and you need to know. And you need to do the work for yourself. Not depend on me, not depend on some damn expert, but look at the evidence itself. Create a courtroom so that you can understand as best we can. Throw out and imprison anybody who will not tell you plain. They don't need math that you don't understand or any of the rest of it. They can do it. Make them spit it out. So, well, the end result is, of course, that a lot of the private housing in Florida, for instance, did not survive the flooding and the hurricanes, and what you have to do is put up high-rises for everybody and give back the ground to nature so that it can survive, so that then we can survive. That's just how it is. There are things that we can do for high-rises that are valuable. There's a lot of high-rises that have been around for a long time. We know what works, we know what's good, we know what has value. Use that. Build that. We don't have trees. And for that matter, we can't really afford the iron and what have you, or the concrete, or the pollution that it causes. But we have to do something. We have no choice. So, and look at all the tragedy of universities. CERN, for instance, they're in France. A big collider that creates trouble with the magnetic effect of the Earth. They are a tragedy and a disgrace in every conceivable way. But then that's just the facts of most of university toys. It's just a toy. Just like the idea of going off into outer space, going to go to different planets. That's just a fantasy. But then that's what the university does. Fantasize and delude themselves on what they can and cannot do. And, they can't take oxygen with them. Not enough to support any kind of life. Biosphere 2 proved that without a possibility of being wrong. And of course, as always, the university was wrong. They had 7 million cubic feet of air enclosed. And the one thing they didn't prepare for was not enough oxygen to breathe. They thought, just like my dad used to say, that one big tree, that's all he needed, that's enough for him. But of course he said that without any evidence of fact. He just assumed, like you assume. But that won't keep you alive. Truth is survival. Literally, truth is survival. Only what is true survives. And, in this nation, you are surrounded by lies and liars and mazes and all the things that make life die. All of it. Look around you. All of it. You want what you want. But of course, that's just your death. And you're killing your children. And you're killing your planet. And you're killing every living thing on the planet. And you're going to end up in eternity in a way that you don't want to. And whether you believe eternity or not, it doesn't matter. You can believe whatever you want. It does not matter. Religion is religion. You can believe whatever you want. But you can't survive without truth. And that's the facts of life.